Good afternoon. I remembered it was afternoon. Happy birthday to you, even if it's not your real birthday. Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. And today is the first day of the rest of your life. My dad was actually 80 yesterday. So he's had 80 years on this planet. So it was actually his proper birthday yesterday. But yeah, who knows how many more years he's going to have. At least 20 maybe. Get himself a little telegram from what will probably be King William in 20 years' time. But we'll see. Could be still King Charles. Could be King Louis, I think it is. Who's next in line, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's not wish any of that on anyone, because we want as many days as you possibly can. But the question here that we got today is, how are you making the most of the rest of your life? How are you making the most of today in order that the rest of your life is a good life? Because a lot of people wake up every morning going, I don't want to bother today. It's too much like hard work. Life is a nightmare. I'm not enjoying life. I don't want to be doing this and anything. And this is obviously the negative downward spiral that we've talked about before. When you've got your ups and downs, and we've talked about this before, where you got a good day and a bad day and a good day and a bad day. And of course, those ups and downs of life are normal, and that's why I like to equate it to the heartbeat. You see a heartbeat monitor in movies and things where it goes beep, 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 beep. But of course, when you hear the flat line, beep, that's when somebody's not very well in hospital. That's not a good sign. And so if your life is beep, that's not a good sign. But you want the beep, 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 up and downs. The thing is that if you have too many downs, those beeps and downs, it's not good. This is a downward negative spiral. This is not an enjoyable thing, which is why my first book, which I never actually published, which I'm toying with the idea of republishing, it's called The Art of Uphill Skiing, because I talked about how, if you're on a slippery slope and you're sliding down and you're trying to figure out how to go uphill, you need to figure out how to ski uphill. Now, it's not actually about uphill skiing, of course. It's about learning the tools and techniques that will allow you to get up a slippery slope. So learning how to use a button lift, learning how to use a chair lift, learning how to use ice axe and crampons on your shoes, learning how to do all those techniques that would allow you to operate in an icy environment to stop yourself sliding down the mountain. So those are all tools and techniques, and I equate those to the tools and techniques that are on my cubes here, the Freedom Cube here, which tells you about learning about your inner voice, the negative voice inside your head, learning about breathing techniques to take yourself from fight or flight to rest and recover, learning about building a gratitude exercise, which is why we have the Create Happy Thoughts book, which is why we get you to write down something that's made you smile, something that you've achieved, something you're grateful for. So your gratitude was right there. And then something you're going to do in the future. So your future pacing. Remember how I talked about future, controlling your future past? You're here now today, and in an hour's time, you'll be here. And you have control over what happens over the next hour or so. So that when you're over here in an hour and you're looking back and you're going, I don't want to regret what I just did in the last hour. You have control of your future past, because this is the past that in your future, this is your future, which in the next distant future will be your past. So you need to control that bit of past. Anyway, and this helps you to manage your positivity. This is why you write this down before you go to bed. And there's a whole big explanation at the front of the book here about the science behind this, the neuroscience, about how your brain works when you go to sleep, and why the last thing you think about when you go to sleep at night is your brain thinks is the most important thing, so it remembers it. And the more times you tell the story about how something's negative in your life, the more often your brain is going to go, oh, this is an important thing. I must remember this from memory. This becomes a core memory. So the negative memories, if you keep talking about the negative memories, become your core memories. And that's no good at all. You don't want that to happen. You want to make your core memories the good memories, the positive memories, the uplifting memories. And if you've never watched the movie Inside Out, go and watch the movie Inside Out. The first one. The second one is good as well, but the second one makes more sense if you've watched the first one. Second one's good on its own, to be fair, but the first one is really, really good about those core memories and how the negative memories can override that. Actually, to be fair, the second one actually has really good examples of self-doubt and anxiety coming in, and those self-doubts and anxieties is built on the negative core memory, the negative memories from the girl's past that then, sorry, from the past, the negative memories from the girl's past that then comes up and bubbles up and goes, oh, what if this negative stuff happens again? And what happens if this happens? And then she's projecting that negativity forward into her future and thinking, I don't want to make these mistakes so that my future is bad. And it's all bad. It's all negative stuff. And she learns how to overcome that and how to create positive thoughts and have a positive thought about the future, so that such that she can create a good future, so that she can look back on the positive changes that she made to make her life better. Anyway, go watch Inside Out, the first movie. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It really teaches you about how your brain works. And so the neuroscience behind that is you go to sleep at night, your brain goes, oh, what's important, what's not important? And the memories that are not important, I'm just going to forget about those. And it's a whole neuroscience thing. It's creating these neural pathways in your brain. It's it's what's called calcification and long-term potentiation. That creates these connections between those neurons inside your brain. I'm sure you've seen videos of that, and if you haven't seen them, then go and search on YouTube neurons forming or something like that, and I'm sure there's videos for that. I could probably find them here, but I'm keeping this one short today. Just realised as well that I can't see if anybody's making any comments, so I'm just going to get that up on the screen so I can see if anyone's making comments. Nobody's making comments so far. That's fine. I'm just going to move that across as well so I can actually see it over here rather than looking to my left, to my right, to your left. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so that's all about figuring out what needs to happen going forward and how your brain works. And I've talked before about how all these negative things that have happened in our past, if we then ruminate over them and think too much about that negativity from our past, it then projects forward into our future and creates this anxiety about the future and this negativity about the future, which then creates this downward negative spiral, so that our average happiness level, which is what I call this happiness, beep, you remember the beep, 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 this is an average happiness, gets lowered and lowered and lowered. And the more it gets lower, the harder it is to uphill ski back out of that hole that you've dug yourself into. So there's an effort that's required to go up there. And of course, this happens over a long period of time. This slow decline into negativity happens over time, a long time. Usually we don't even notice we're doing it. It just gets worse and worse and worse. We start thinking about those negative thoughts. We keep thinking about the negative thoughts. The negative thoughts keep coming up because our brain thinks it's important to us. So it says, oh, don't forget about this really negative thought that you keep thinking about. Apparently it's really important to you, so I'm going to keep reminding you about it. And so it just gets worse, and it spirals, this negative downward spiral, and then it brings this average level of happiness down and down and down and down. And I always say to themselves, what would happen if you could raise that average level of happiness, so that so you beep beep beep. So in future, a bad day is here, whereas before your average level was here. So a bad day in the future is above what your current good day is. So a bad day in the future is better than what your current good day is like. And that's very possible. I know it. This is exactly what happened to me. I was struggling with depression and anxiety for 10 years. And then in 2012, I had a massive panic attack. Thought I was going to die. I thought I was having a heart attack. Turns out I just couldn't breathe properly, and I wasn't getting enough breath into my lungs. And so my brain wasn't functioning properly. And so I was kind of basically collapsing because I wasn't breathing, essentially, was what was going on there. There's a little bit more to it than that, but essentially that's what was going on. Went to my doctor and they put me on antidepressants for the 4th time. That was the 4th time I'd been put on antidepressants. So like, come on, there must be a way of getting out of this. And the doctor kind of said, well, we can send you on some mindfulness courses, some CBT courses, some meditation courses, and see what happens. Don't really know how to overcome it. Bear in mind, this was 2012, so this is 13 years ago. And I said, nope, I'm going to figure this out for myself. And this is when I started reading all of these science books over here, started watching YouTube videos, started going to like lectures and learning about neuroscience and how the brain works, and just learning how to retrain your own brain, how to rewire your own brain. So now I've got a wealth of experience about that. And I noticed from all these books and all the YouTube videos I was watching, all the personal development people, there was about 15 common things that they all said. Do this, do this, do this. And some of them biased on some things, and some people biased on other things. Some people said exercise was fantastic. Some people said yoga was fantastic. Some people said meditation was fantastic. And what I discovered is that different people find different things better. And so when I talk about this average level of happiness, I talk about it kind of like the 15 pillars become, imagine obviously 5, imagine 3 hands with 5 fingers on them, pushing this up here. I should create like a piece of paper so I could kind of hold up like 3 hands here with 15 pillars. That would be kind of a good idea. Anyway, and if the more of these things you do, the higher that, I can kind of do it with haven't quite got 3 freedom cubes. Imagine the middle one's a freedom cube. Here we go, 15. 3 freedom cubes, pushing your average level of happiness up higher and higher and higher. So that's and that's what you're doing, using the 15 things that are on here and finding out which ones work for you. So if you love going to the gym, go to the gym. If you love yoga, go do yoga. If you love walking out in nature, walk out in nature. But don't neglect the other ones as well. So make sure you're doing the gratitude exercises. Make sure you're using my book. Make sure you're using your breathing exercise on a regular basis. Make sure you're meditating. You're using mindfulness. Make sure you're shielding yourself from negativity around you. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with positive friends. Make sure you've got a good routine so that you don't mentally exhaust yourself with your routine every day. Get good habits, get rid of the old habits, replace them with good habits, sort your money out so you've got enough money coming in that you don't have to worry about bills and stuff. You haven't got that panicking going on there. Make sure you eat good food. I can't remember what the other ones are. Make sure you're doing things that make you feel good. Listen to good music, positive, uplifting music on a regular basis. And make sure you're feeding your mind with positivity. So reading, so Blinkist book of the day, the free Blinkist book of the day. Blinkist, and I found it last week, by the way. I talked about it last week, didn't I? Blinkist, no, free. So it's findyourfire.co.uk, fire.co.uk/Blinkist free. Blinkist free. I've done a comma instead of a dot. There you go. Findyourfire.co.uk/Blinkist free. There you go. That was the link that I was trying to remember of last night, which gives you a link to the Blinkist free book of the day. I'm not quite sure what the free Blinkist book of the day is today. I'm going to go and listen to it in a minute because I'm doing my Couch to 5K. Where was the piece of paper for that? Here it is. Couch to 5K, which we talked about last week. I downloaded it. I've done the first 2, and this third one I've delayed till Monday, and then tomorrow I've got Tuesday. This is like day 4. It's all right. It's good. You do like 1 week, one minute of running, 1 minute of walking, 1 minute running, 1 minute walking. Do that 10 times. Day 3, you do 2 minutes of walking and 4 minutes of running, which is kind of cool. And then tomorrow I'll be doing 3 minutes of running and 3 minutes of walking. It's kind of cool. And it just builds up over 6 weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. Today's free Blinkist book of the day. Okay, here it's Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club by the looks of it. Is that right? No, why isn't it showing? No, it's actually showing the free Blinkist book of the day. That's kind of annoying. Not sure why. Get started. I'm not sure why it's not showing that. Anyway, normally that's a link that takes you through to there. So that's all cool. Good. Anyway, that's learning, that's filling your mind. And that's basically the whole 15 pillars. And all of that stuff leads you to being able to sleep better. That's what's going on here as well. So you can sleep better when you are doing all these other things. And then also those 15 things are then raising your average level of happiness. But you have to do them on a regular basis. Now, okay, so that comes back to the main topic of what we're talking about today. It is about changing your life and how to change your life and how to do the things that need to be done to change your life. And you have to do these tiny little things every single day just to improve. You nudge the needle just a little bit. You just nudge your life a little bit better every time. You nudge your average happiness up just a little bit. You watch a positive video. You know, that lifts you up a little bit. You do your little exercise before you go to bed. You fill in my group, and you remember the thing that made you smile during the day. Watching this video makes you smile before you go to bed, and you think about it. You think, oh yeah, I remember how that made me smile. That's really good. So just before you go to sleep, you're thinking about the positive thing that made you smile during the day. You're not thinking about all the negative stuff and the horrible things you think about doing. You're thinking about the positive thing. Thinking about the thing that you achieved. You know, you went for a walk. You drank a glass of water. You ate a nice food. You had a nice coffee. Whatever it is, you did your midday mindset mastery session. Whatever it is you wanted to do and you planned to do and you did, celebrate that and remember it. And then when you go to sleep at night, you think about, oh yeah, I remember how I felt when I achieved that thing. I felt really good to have done the thing that I said I was going to do. Going out for this run, run in a minute. That's going to make me feel good having done that. Gratitude. What are you grateful for in your life? The home that you live in, the warmth that you got, the weather outside's quite nice at the moment. The fact that you're watching this, you've got a phone, you've got the internet, you've got the ability to have food and drink and all those kinds of things. You're not in a war zone. You know, these are all things that you can be grateful for every single day. And remember those before you go to sleep at night. And then you think about the thing you're going to do tomorrow. So you think about something you're going to do tomorrow, and then you imagine, how am I going to feel tomorrow when I've done that thing? And I imagine feeling good about having done the thing that you said you were going to do. Again, going for a walk, drinking a glass of water, reading a book, going for a run. I don't know. Lots of things you could probably think of as what you're going to do tomorrow. Sorting out my dad's TV, something I'm going to do this afternoon, for example. And then feel good about that and remember how it feels about you. Then when you wake up in the next morning, that's exactly what this thing is designed to do. You write these things down before you go to sleep at night. Next morning, when you wake up on the Tuesday, because it's going to be Tuesday tomorrow, you then look at what did you write on Monday night. See, you remind yourself what you wrote when you went to sleep at night and said, oh yeah, I remember what made me smile on Monday. I remember what I did and achieved on Monday. I remember what I was grateful for on Monday. I remember what I'm going to do today on Tuesday. So you wake up and you immediately put all that positivity straight into your brain before your brain has a chance to think about all the negativity of the day. You're reminding yourself. And then what you're doing is you're training your brain to think about the positive stuff. And then it goes, oh, these are good memories. These are things I need to remember. And then it forgets about the negative stuff, the bad stuff that happened during the day. It just starts to ebb away. So that neural connection that you've got here, that long-term potentiation, the calcification, the connection between, because what it builds this connection between the two neurons. These are two neurons, by the way, and it builds that connection. And the less you use this, the more it breaks down the connections between these two neurons. And eventually these kind of separate and go like this. And then the neurons look for somewhere else to connect. And then you can connect a different connection up here, a positive connection over here. And it becomes a good positive connection. And the more times you think about the positive stuff, the stronger that connection becomes, the better that memory becomes. And that's what builds up the positivity in your life. And that's what's happened to me over the last 12, 13 years. I've learned how to implement the 15 pillars on my cube, and I do them on a regular basis now, so I don't even really think about it anymore. It's just part of my natural life now. And so I do have down days. Remember how the average happens? Beep, beep, beep. So I do have these down days, but these down days are now way up here. So when I have a down day, I go, oh, that's all right. It's just a little down day. I'm having a bit of a rough day today. I'll pick myself up. I'll do some positive things. I'll think about the things that make me smile. I'll be grateful for things and all this kind of stuff. And I'll pick myself back. Within 24 hours, I'll be back up to normal again and I'll be fine. And I won't allow this average level of happiness to drop down too far, down into negativity. That's the whole point of exactly what I'm doing here today. Is teaching you about how this stuff works and how you can make this stuff work as well. By the way, if you're watching this and you want more support from me, I am going to eventually launch the course, but there is already a playlist, it's a private playlist, of the 15 pillars, me describing them each over 15 weeks just before Christmas last year. If you want access to that, just drop me a message. If you're watching us on YouTube, just say, send me John, and I'll send you the link. We'll figure out something, or find me on social media somewhere else. Just John V Denley, absolutely everywhere. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, or X if you prefer. I'm even on TikTok. I just don't use it very much at all yet. I'm on Facebook as John V Denley. I'm on YouTube as John V Denley. Find me anywhere you want. Drop me a message, and I'll help you out as much as I can. Not one-on-one, but I'll try and give you some pointers towards some things that will help you. And go and download my book, for crying out loud. It's all in there. And eventually you'll be able to get a cube as well. Because I've now got these new cubes, which are £8 from Cubes UK. Which are pretty good cubes. And they're nice matte as well. I quite like the matte on theirs. And I'm going to get a bunch of stickers made up that have the 15 pillars on it. So you can just buy the sticker set and then just buy one of these cubes and then stick it on yourself, rather than me going to the extent of having these made in China and shipped across and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, cool. Where are we at? Oh, look at that. We're not even 12:30 yet. Fantastic. We're almost through this stuff. So yeah, but the point I wanted to really say, which I probably should have started with really, is that it's taken you a long time to get to this negative thing. It's taken you a while to get down as low as you are right now. It's going to take a while to get up. You can't just quickly fix this. Those neurons, they don't just break down instantly. You've got to spend time trying to create new neurons and ignoring these ones. You've got to change your memories. You've got to rebuild your new memories and forget about the old memories. And the more you think about the old memories, the stronger the things get. So again, you need to spend time thinking about the new memories and creating good new memories in order to delete the old memories, because they will go away. Because there are things, no matter how much you think you can remember everything in the past, there are things in your past that you have forgotten, that you can't remember now. If you ever look through an old photo album and you flick through it and you go, oh gosh, I'd forgotten all about that. promise you, there will be stuff. If you look back far enough, there will be definitely stuff that you can't remember taking that photo of. You can't remember what happened. You can't remember who that person was in that video. All that kind of stuff. Obviously be careful. Don't spend too much time looking at the negative and think, oh God, that photograph brought back some negative memories. Yeah, just bypass it. Just ignore it. Just say, nope, not interested in that. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about mindfulness and meditation. Meditation rather. I was talking about meditation, not mindfulness in this particular case. This is meditation concepts here. This is, I'm going to focus on keeping my mind, or blanking my mind out and getting rid of all the negative thoughts. So what you do is you take your deep breaths, you do the 20 out breaths and the 20 in breaths we talked about a couple of weeks ago. And then you do the 20 in and out breaths. And when you have those intrusive thoughts, those negative thoughts, not even necessarily negative thoughts, things that you need to do, you say to your brain, not right now, I'm meditating right now. Remind, if it's something that you need to be reminded of, remind me about that later. If it's something you don't want to be reminded about, say, I don't want to hear about that anymore. You kind of have that conversation inside your house. You have this little inner voice conversation dialogue with yourself inside your head that says, I don't want to have that thought anymore. Please don't remind me of that sort of thought. You can say that to yourself as you're doing it. So imagine like clouds passing in the sky, or as I think we said a couple of weeks ago, buses coming up. And so there's a bus comes up. It's not the bus you want. It's the number 33, and you were looking for the number 51. So you let the number 33 bus just go past because you don't want to get on the 33 bus because you want to get on a 51 bus. And when you're doing meditation, you just know that you'll be meditating because the number 51 bus isn't due for an hour. So you can just relax. It's all right. Number 51's not due for another hour. Great. You're going to be sitting there for an hour. It's fantastic. There's going to be 30 or 40 buses that go past you every time. Those thoughts that go past your brain. You're just going to ignore all of them because you don't want those. Those are not the buses you want. Those are not the buses you want. These are not the droids you want. Star Wars reference there for anyone who's ever watched Star Wars. These are not the droids you want. Fantastic. Anyway, I was just thinking, I was saying to my friend Anna the other day, and I was saying, one day, if you haven't watched Star Wars yet, because it's amazing how many people haven't watched Star Wars yet, then that's something that I'm going to enjoy doing with you, is watching Star Wars with you for the first time. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I mean, I know it's not necessarily the greatest movie in the world and all that kind of stuff, but there's some good stuff in there. And for me, it was a very formative experience as a child watching that movie. So same thing with It's a Wonderful Life, another movie that is absolutely fantastic and much more sort of palatable to most of the population. Although I've heard people saying negative things about it, which is bizarre, but there you go. Which reminds me, anyway, a whole different conversation about movie ratings. But yeah, it's another movie that will be massively fun to watch with somebody if they're only watching it for the first time, because it's got so many good lessons in it. It's such a good concept of because again, It's a Wonderful Life. George, the main character of the movie, thinks that his life is worthless and meaningless, and like nobody cares about him, and what's the point of living? And he tries to commit suicide, but the angel comes down and saves him, and gives him another chance of life. Clarence is the angel there, and he gives him an opportunity to see what the world would be like if he hadn't existed, if George hadn't existed, and he gets to experience all these things and says, "My God, the world was a terrible place if I wasn't in it." And so he suddenly has this joy for life, and he understands now about this future past and how important it is to take back control of his life and then just not worry about the past and the negative stuff that's happened in the past, but focus on the good stuff that's happening right now and the good stuff in the future. It's a fantastic movie, well worth watching. If you're Anna, wait, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to watch it with you. That'd be fantastic. If you're anybody else, unless you want to watch it with me, in which case let me know, and maybe we can set something up. We could do like a joint watchy thing, whatever you call that. What's it called? There's a word for that. Anyway, on Netflix, I think you can set up and say, we're watching this movie at the same time, we just press play at the same time or something like that. And then you can chat and stuff. I think you can do that. Or maybe that's in Disney, you can do that. Anyway, you understand. Even if you just get on Zoom and watch it separately and together, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, really good movie. Go watch it. And Inside Out, talked about Inside Out. Inside Out, another fantastic movie. Really got lots of lessons in there, teaching you about the mindset and mental health. Good, fantastic. Again, Inside Out, go and watch it anyway. You don't have to wait for me on that one. Just go watch it. because it's amazing. It's on Disney, by the way, Disney Plus. If you haven't got Disney Plus, again, let me know. I'm sure we can figure something out. Actually, no, I'm not sure I can help you out with Disney Plus. Netflix I can help you out with. Anyway, cool. Anyway, so that's it basically. So what I was saying is that it takes a long time to get messed up. And one of the things I was going to talk about with the cube is that when a cube is all nice and neat and tidy like this, it's kind of cool, right? And then when you start messing it up, and we've had a really cool example of this the other day about how we learn conflicting. Oh, it was my nephew Harry was experiencing like Easter egg hunts for the first time, and my brother Paul was saying to him, pick up that Easter egg, because obviously Easter eggs have been placed around the garden or wherever it was, at nursery or something, and pick it up and put it in your bag. And of course Harry has been taught that don't take other people's things, and an egg that's just lying on the floor is potentially somebody else's thing, and you can't just pick it up and put it into your bag and say that's mine. It's effectively you're stealing it from somebody else. So he had this you could see this conflict on his face about but you've told me not to touch other people's things, and now you're telling me to pick up other people's things. And this is exactly what we're talking about. This is the conflict inside your brain that can create no blame here, by the way, Paul. Completely reasonable. It's exactly what's going on. But from a psychological perspective, from a neuroscience perspective, it was fascinating. I'm not sure if Paul's going to watch this or whatever, but yeah. So, but I'm sure you'll see this with all your children. It's the same thing. Is hang on a minute. You've given me this one rule, and now you're telling me that rule doesn't apply in this particular circumstance. So it's one of those situations where you've got to learn that the rule isn't the rule. The rule is valid in this circumstance, but not valid in this circumstance. I had this problem massively. It's one of the reasons I struggle with social anxiety talking to women in my life, was because I was learning about how to flirt and how to ask people out and how to do dates and stuff and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't realise, I realised you shouldn't do it at work. But the problem I had was when work then goes out and has a social event, you're now in a social situation. And I didn't realise that the work kind of ethics, ethos, still applied in a work environment. Still applied in a social environment if you're with your work colleagues. So you've still got to be careful about what you say with your work colleagues if you're in a social environment. And my brain didn't compute that at the time. It was like, here's work, I'm at work, I'm being all formal and all that kind of stuff. Now I'm in a social environment, I can do all the social, I can have fun and enjoy life and be honest and not worry about work stuff. Not always true, because you've got work people there who you're then going to see the next day at work and they're going to go, well, hang on a minute, you were saying this stuff last night in social. I personally don't like it, because it's like, well, let's be honest in both places. Why not just be honest in both places? If we're going to be honest, be honest. Why do we have to sort of be careful in a social environment and then be careful in a work environment and then less careful in a social environment, but not if you're with work colleagues? It's like you still have to be careful about what you say to the work colleagues in a social environment. Anyway, so with the cube, nice easy cube here. It's all neat and tidy. Very easy to mess it up, right? Doesn't take much effort to mess up a cube. There you go. It's all messed up, right? But if you want to make this cube and you want to solve it, not as easy. That's taken me like 10 seconds to mess it all up, right? But if I want to now fix this and put it back the way it's supposed to be, I can't do that as fast. I can do it if I kind of fake it, because if I know what I'm doing and I do like 4 or 5 moves exactly the same, and I remember exactly what moves I've done, because this is the trick that I do, and then I can reverse them and just do the same moves backwards, then it's easy to put everything back. But with this cube, where I messed it up randomly, I got no idea how I put it into this situation in the first place. This is what happens in your life. You've had all these negative experiences that over time, slowly has dragged you down. And now you want to put it all back together again really quickly. Well, you can't. I mean, in your brain, this is your brain. You're trying to rewire your own brain. Imagine this inside your brain, and you're trying to rewire it. You're trying to reconstruct the cube inside your brain. It's not that easy to do, but you can do it. You just have to learn how to do it. But even then, if you know how to do it, like I do, I can do this in about 60 seconds. So I can reconstruct this in about 60 seconds, which is quite quick. Still not as quick as the world record, which is like 3 seconds or something ridiculous. But the people who do the 3-second solves have been training for months and years to get that fast. It's taken me, I would say, well, here's the thing. If you picked up this cube now and you've never solved a cube before in your life, and you used my course, findyourfire.co.uk/solve the cube, and you followed it along turn by turn, it'll take you about an hour to solve the cube, fairly slowly, just following along exactly the turns I tell you to do. Maybe an hour and a half. If you're really slow and you make some mistakes and you have to restart, maybe 2 hours. But basically, within 2 hours, you'll have the cube back to solved again, following along my program. Second time you do it, you'll be slightly faster because some of the videos will be like, okay, I know how to hold the cube now, so I don't need to watch the video on how to hold the cube. I know how all the pieces are aligned now. I know what an edge piece is and a corner piece and a center piece is, so I don't need to watch the video explaining all that anymore. So you can cut the time down on that. Plus, as you're doing it, you'll start to recognize the same moves and say, oh, I know how that move works. I can just do that move without having to watch the video to tell me how to do the move. And so that'll get slightly quicker. And I always say, the first time through with my cube, you can do it in about an hour. The second time through, it'll take you about half an hour to solve the cube. The third time through, it'll take you about 15 minutes to solve the cube. Now, you can't get much faster than that by just following along using my course. I've tried because I basically said, imagine I don't know what I'm doing. Imagine I'm following along the cube and I'm just following along with the videos and then clicking through and choosing the right video that I need to do and then following along, playing the video. Even at 2 speed, I still can't quite get it less than about 10 minutes maximum. However, once you've done it those 3 times, eventually you start to get the hang of the moves and you start to remember them. And then you don't have to click through, so you can do like one side without bothering to look at the videos anymore. You could probably start to get to the second layer without looking at the videos anymore. And then you might need to watch the videos to do the bottom layer. And then that'll just make you slightly faster. And I say, with a bit of practice, you can get under 5 minutes comfortably without bothering to watch the videos. That should be fairly easy for almost everybody who has some vague spatial awareness. I have come across people who just can't conceive of the fact that if you're looking at the blue side, the green side's around the back. They always have to look to see, oh yeah, it's the green side. No disrespect to those people. The brain just isn't wired in the right way. I'm sure that over time you could overcome that and you could get that spatial awareness by using the cube. It's training those neural networks to reform in a new way. And I'm sure that's possible to do. But I haven't had the patience to sit with somebody for months on it to get them to repeat it. Plus, they get bored because they go, oh, I can't figure it out. Oh, I don't feel like I can do it. And then that negative voice, those negative voices come back in and say, oh, no, that's not going to work for me. I have this conversation with my mother on a fairly regular basis. It's quite funny. She's never learned to swim. Fair enough. No problem with that at all whatsoever. She says, I can't swim. And I'm like, well, you can. You just never learned and you don't want to learn. There's a difference. You don't want to learn. And you have never learned, so therefore you currently can't. There's no reason why you couldn't in some point in the future if you really wanted to. If it was something that you desired to do and you had a need and you had a desire to do it, then you could go and do it. It's not hard. Take lessons. You can figure it out. Easy. Same as solving the cube. Say you can't solve the cube? Yes, you can. You absolutely can solve the cube. Even if all you're doing is following along my videos, you can definitely solve the cube. Whether or not you want to learn how to do it in under 60 seconds, that takes time, effort, dedication, repetition, regularly doing it. Can you be bothered? Yeah, not so sure. I would love to play the piano. I would love to play the piano. Can I be bothered to go through all the learning the scales and learning how all the keys work together? Not really. I kind of have a vague idea. I vaguely know how to do it. But can be bothered to put the practice in to actually learn how to play the piano properly? No, really can't. I haven't really got the time for it either. I keep saying to myself, one day I'll find the time for it. And I have a keyboard, I can do it, and I have people who can teach me and all that kind of stuff. It's just I haven't got the patience to learn, and I haven't got the sort of time in my life to do the learning part. I want to get there, and I'm sure I'll get there eventually. It's kind of one of those when I retire kind of situations. Once I've got enough money coming in and I've got it settled down, maybe I can take an hour a week to do that. Why not? Anyway, so back to the cube. If you want to learn how to do the cube, you've got to put in the practice. You've got to learn how to hold the cube properly. You've got to learn how the pieces work. You can't just say, I'm going to solve the cube tomorrow. That's not how it works. You've got to put the practice in. You've got to put the effort in. You've got to put the dedication in to do the things every single day. You've got to go out to the walk. A friend of mine recently once told me, said, I went for a walk in the countryside and it didn't help my depression. You're like, Well, it's not going to. It'll make you feel a little bit happier while you're doing the walk. And if you think about it, if you were sitting at home having not gone out to do the walk and you said to yourself, I'm going to go out for a walk, and then you don't go out for the walk, that's going to be a negative feeling. But you're not going to have that negative feeling if you've done the walk. But what you need to do is you go for the walk and then say to yourself, I really enjoyed that walk. That was a fun walk. I saw all these nice people. I saw this nice thing. I saw these nice, these nice flowers. And then you think about the positive bits of the walk, and it might not actually like help you straight away. But what it does do is it starts to rewire your brain to remember the good stuff about it, rather than the, oh, I went out for a walk. It was too like a lot of effort, and it didn't fix me. Like, well, no, it's not going to. It's just like the same thing with this cube or the piano playing for me. Doing scales, I'm like, I don't want to do the scales. It's really boring. Same with the cube. I want to solve this cube. I'm going to learn that this is the white side. The middle piece is the white piece, and this is a white edge piece. And the edge pieces have got 2 colours on them, and then this is a white piece with 3 colours on it. This is red, white, and blue. It's got 3 colours on it, and it's a corner piece. So I want the edge pieces up on the top. And when you start to put these edge pieces up onto the top like this. See this? It's an edge piece and an edge piece, and the edge pieces go on the 4 edges. All right, they're not the corner pieces because the corner pieces go in the corners. Yep, and then put that one up there, and then this one around here. Right, so you've got four edge pieces, and then people say, what about this white one? That's a corner piece. You don't care about that. It's actually not in the right place anyway, because you can see the colours don't match up. Just ignore it. You ignore the corner pieces. This is not a white piece in the right place. It's a white piece on the white side, but it's not a white piece in the right place. They've got the edge pieces. The edge pieces don't even line up though, because look, white and red, this one, white and orange, and that's not an orange side. So you need to put the orange side on the orange bit. And what have we got around here? Orange and green, so those two need to swap around. The blue one's going to line up perfectly. There you go. See, the blue one lines up perfectly. The one opposite, what's opposite blue? Green. Green. But it doesn't line up. But that's okay, because you can just learn to swap them round fairly easily. And now we've got the greens lining up, the purple, the oranges lining up, the blues lining up, and the reds lining up. And you still got the cross on the top. Again, ignore the corner, because we don't care about the corner right now. But what we do want to do, first of all, next, is to actually put the corners in place. So we find a little corner like this, like one here. It's going to go up into that slot there. See the red bit there? It's going to match up with the red centerpiece here. So that's the bit you do. You'll hold the cube, so that this finger covers these 4 over here, which means you can only move the bottom and you can only move the side. And then you can put that piece, it needs to go underneath. It's underneath the thumb when it's facing you, of course, but I'm doing it backwards front for you. So you put it underneath the finger like that. You bring this side down. You see that white piece? You don't want that white piece there. It's in the wrong place. It doesn't match up the colours. Bring that down. Then you bring that white piece that was underneath the thumb. You bring it back around, which matches up with that white piece. That's in the right place now. And then as you put it up to the top, you can see that colour now matches up. And that colour matches up. So that 3 corner piece thing is now in the right place. So you learn these little techniques, and you learn these pieces. You put the orange piece in there, corner in there. Boom, orange piece in the right place. Got another orange and blue piece here. Boom, it's in the right place. See now, you've got a corner in the right place because the colours match up. You can see the colours all match up along there. Got those 2 colours match up. We've got one more corner to go here. And there you go. Put it in the right place. Bingo. So now we've got all the colours lining up along the top here. We've got the white side done, and now we work on the second layer. And it's the same process. So again, you learn how to do that. And of course, I'm going to do it quickly now because I know what I'm doing, and I just want to wrap up this process. But it's not a very difficult thing to do. Once you've learned the techniques, there you go. Second layer is all done, and it's basically the same level, same layers. Got to do the bottom layer, the cross on the bottom, the corners. Okay, so you've got a cross on the bottom again. See the yellow cross on the bottom? Ignore the corners. Don't care about those. They're not in the right place anyway. Edge pieces lining up there, lining up there, lining up okay there, and lining up okay there. Brilliant. Just got to put the corners in the right place now. So put one corner in the right place. I'm sure you've seen this before. One corner in the right place. See how the colours line up? See the yellow, the green, the red, all lines up nicely. Then you've got to put a second corner in the right place. Oops. I didn't do that right. Hold on a second. I did the wrong move. Oh, completely messed it up now. Oh well, never mind. Back with you in a second. What? Oh, I know why. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so one corner done, and now I'm going to do the second corner. Okay, here we go. I messed it up. Now here's a good example. So you remember how a couple of weeks ago we talked about how if you mess things up, don't knock yourself, don't blame yourself, don't be negative to yourself about the things that you're doing. By the way, I'm just setting something up for the future, so don't worry about what I'm actually doing with the cube right here. Yeah, don't blame yourself, don't knock yourself. If you've done something wrong, you messed something up, don't worry about it, don't negative, because that's where the depression comes from. You're looking back at your past, you're looking back at the negativity, and you go, oh, that's horrible, that's made me feel terrible. I just realised I've gone over 20 minutes already. Blimey, how have I talked for another 20 minutes? Terrible. Anyway, good session. What you can do is you say, I messed up right now, nothing I can do about it, but in my future past, I can now fix it, I can have an opportunity. So this cube, which I've just, that's annoying. See, I wasn't actually watching what I was doing, so I didn't quite do the thing that I wanted to do. I was going to try and show you how to finish off the cube, but I've got to finish it up properly, haven't I? So, okay, right. So, once you've done the two corners, you've then got two left to do down here, like that, yeah, so that, yeah, two corners left that's still messed up. And then you can just do the move that swaps those two corners over, or twists those corners round. And then when you know how to do that, like I'm doing it here, you understand that you can solve the cube really quickly. In fact, you've seen me solve it 3 or 4 times. Actually, you didn't know what I was doing, but I solved it twice while I was talking about this other stuff. And because I know what I'm doing, because those neurons in my head are fired, and I've done it so many times, I can do that almost without looking, because my fingers have got what they call muscle memory. So I kind of know what the moves are without actually looking at it. I just glance at it and go, oh yeah, I need to do that move. Which is also why when I messed it up, I was like, oh God, I messed it up. Doesn't matter. I can just do it again. I'll just start, rewind a step and start working through again. And it's absolutely fine, because again, I've learned how to do it. I know what I'm doing. I've learned how to do it under pressure, and it's absolutely fine. And it's the same thing for everything in your life. Yeah. So it's the same for everything in your life, basically. It takes time to learn how to do that. It takes time for me to learn how to do the piano. I've got to do the work. At some point, I've got to find the time to do the work. The great thing is, rewiring your brain and retraining your brain is nowhere near as difficult as learning how to solve the Rubik's Cube. It's nowhere near as hard as learning how to to play the piano. It's so simple, it's ridiculous, and yet people still don't do it. And all you need to do, little tiny baby actions every single day. Fill in the book. Something that's made you smile. You don't even need to buy the book. You can download the free PDF, or you can just write this on a piece of blank paper, for crying out loud. Something that's made you smile, something you've achieved, something you're grateful for, something you're going to do. Every time before you go to sleep, before you go to bed, go to sleep at night. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. There you go. Sorry about that. Do that. Then also do the other things that are on the 15 pillars. The movement, getting out into nature, the meditation, the mindfulness, the breath work on a regular basis, the gratitude we already talked about, eating good healthy food, finding good snacks, eating carrots instead of crisps, for example, eating celery instead of crisps. There's a whole big story about that. Tony Robbins talks about this story, about the lady who liked to eat crisps when she was watching the movies, and it turns out she liked the crunch. She liked to have something to do with her fingers, and she liked the crunch of the crisps, and then discovered that celery did the same thing, something to do with her fingers, and it's the crunch that she liked while she was watching the movies. And then she substituted the crisps, or the French fries, or not French fries, what do you call them? Chips. Americans call them chips. In a bag, we call them crisps because they're crispy, and replace those with celery sticks. Problem solved for her. Anyway, these tiny little habits that you can do on a daily basis, and over time things will get better. It will just take a bit of time for those neurons to start breaking down, those old negative neurons to start breaking down, those little guys inside the inside-out brain to throw away the negative memories, and for you to form new positive memories, and then raise your average level of happiness higher and higher and higher. It's all just tiny little basic changes. And if any of this has confused you, God knows why it would confuse you, because this is really simple stuff, and I've repeated it like 3 or 4 times while we're talking. Let me know. Again, it's all here. If you're in the Facebook group, go and have a look at the guide section, because it's all laid out in there. And if you're confused with anything, let me know. Job done. Midday Monday Mindset Mastery, done and dusted. I am now going to go and do my Couch to 5K run and have a lovely day. Sending out my love to you. Mwah. Take care of yourself. Have a lovely rest of your day. Have a fantastic week ahead. And remember to do the little things. Let me know how you're getting on. Let me know how you're getting on. Privately if you really want to. But if you're on the Facebook group, drop a message into the Facebook group. By the way, if you're not in the Facebook group and you're watching this on YouTube, facebook.com/groups/Find Your Fire Community, or findyourfire.co.uk/group would probably actually work, to be fair. Facebook group is probably realistically what you want. Find Your Fire. I'm just going to put in group. See what happens. Yep, works. There you go. findyourfire.co.uk/group. It'll take you to the Facebook group, and you can go and join the Facebook group. You have to answer a couple of questions. You don't have to do the email if you don't want to do the email, but I recommend it. Somebody complained about that a few weeks ago, so that's why I said that. But done. Sending you all the love. Mwah. Remember to do your breathing exercises as well, your 5 birthday breathing things. 5, remember how it all ties together. 5 in. Hand on your heart, left hand, light the candles on your left. While you're holding your breath, blow out the candles. See, you're holding your breath while you're doing that for your 5. You can do the 5 things, something that's made you smile, something you've achieved, something you're grateful for, something you're going to achieve, and then send some love to somebody in your life that you love, and then turn it upside down and turn it into a heart. Mwah. Love you. Take care. Bye for now. Love you all.